So starting in a supine position, spend a moment allowing your feet to connect to the floor and to have the sense of spreading the weight down through the heels, spreading the toes as if they were in sand, and allowing the back of the waist, so the hips, sacrum, to also get really, really heavy and broad. And then maybe traveling the attention up a little bit further. You might even want to have kind of a little bit of a wiggle here to situate your shoulder blades so that they feel also really kind of broad and weighty. And then maybe take a little side to side with your skull, so allowing your neck to become a little bit more free, a little bit softer. Hands can face the ceiling, or they can also press down if you want to get that real sense of like fingertips into the earth. And we take a few deep breaths, which breathe space into the back of the body, especially the ribs and the shoulders. And as you exhale, the sense of softening and rinsing. Let's take one more breath here. Nice deep inhale, feeling the body, front, sides and backs, and then maybe sigh out on your exhale. Begin to press into your feet. And from this press into the feet, we'll start to get a little activation through the back of the thighs. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, begin to tilt your tailbone, your sit bones, your pubic bone towards the sky. We get this little roll of the back here. Maybe you're engaging the abdominals to do this as well. And then we roll the pelvis up towards the ceiling. We send the thigh bones forwards. So you've got this really, really long line here. I'd ask you to not pop the ribcage out, as is often what we do in our yoga practice, but keep this kind of corset, your ribcage corset, a little bit softer so that we can focus on that pressing up of the hips. Take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, gently roll down through the spine. And again, it's this sense of uncurling, unfurling, really, really sort of gradual all the way down to the floor. Take an inhale. And we'll roll through that a few more times. So it's almost like, I think there's two images, and then rolling down again, that I really like to use for this. One is the sensation of sort of laying icing on cake, you know, and you're trying to get it to lay down bit by bit, so you don't have any like bumps in your icing, so you're like, ooh, super, super soft and smooth. And then when you peel it off again, it's like this kind of when you're trying to peel a sticker off something without leaving any paper behind. The other way of thinking about it is like imagining that you are lying on sand and that you're very gently trying to imprint your spine, every single bit of it, down into the floor. And then as you rise it off, it's like you're trying to peel it off carefully so that you don't disturb that imprint. Let's make this the last one. And now we pause at the top here. We're going to press down a little bit more strongly, and I say a little bit, I mean a lot more strongly, into that right heel, so that your right sit bone kind of presses up and through. And then through that pressing down, let's see if we can lift that left leg off. Don't need to straighten it out, but you know, you can just have a little play here, maybe kind of internally, externally rotate the leg. Notice what the shifting of the thigh bone in your bridge does to the bottom thigh. Can we keep it really stable? And then press the hips up a little bit higher, leg can be bent or straight, and then we replace the foot down onto the floor. Same thing on the other side. Root down into your left leg. Take an inhale, and then on that exhale, the right leg floats on up. And so I sort of think about it as the sensation of pressing the back of the thigh upwards to meet the front of the thigh. And again, maybe you take a little kind of internal, external rotation. You might want to roll the ankles, so start to mobilize through the joints. Internally, externally, whatever. Zigzag, I don't know. Zigzag could be fun, but it's a lot of work here. And then pressing the hip bones up a tiny bit more, and then replacing the foot down onto the floor. Take an inhale. Exhale, roll down briefly. staying up if you want a little bit more fire. And then we roll back up again. Press down into your right foot, lifting the left leg. And now we're going to keep that right thigh stable. And we're going to bend the left leg at the knee. And then we're going to see if we can bring the left heel down to our left butt cheek. And then can we actually try and slide our left ankle through the gap underneath the right thigh. And then bring it back up. I'm going to do this a few more times, so follow along with me or have a little look if you're not sure. So I'm letting one hip drop and then I'm pulling it back to center. And if this feels like too much, you can just focus on opening the knee without moving the toe into that kind of little gateway that we've created. And then we place the foot down, take an inhale, and we'll go straight onto the other side. But remember, you can always take breaks at any point in the practice, and you can always do this bit again. So we try and loop the foot down and through that little gateway, and then back up. Trying that a few times. This might be the point where your rib cage starts to try and wakes up and gets into the game. But I want it to stay really relaxed if possible. And remember, if this is too much, you can take the knee out to the side and then bring it back in. We'll do another one of these. And then place the foot down onto the floor, push the hips upwards, stretch the hands behind you. Maybe now this time you can lift the rib cage as well, but still having that kind of tucking action of the tailbone, the feeding of the sit bones towards the back of the knees. And then we slowly reach through your fingertips really strongly and slowly return the back to the floor. Hug the knees into the center of the chest. Little rock from side to side, just very briefly. And then we return our feet into tabletop position. Now I'd like you to drop your lower belly down so it slightly imprints. Squeeze your sits bones together. So the little knobbly bits at the bottom of your pelvis, we squeeze them together. You'll be familiar with this if you come to my classes a lot. So you have this feeling of the butt cheeks or buttocks or gluteals wrapping in. And now bring your hands behind the head. Basket your head as if it's a very precious melon, not coconut, because they're difficult to break. So you want your melon to be like basketed here. Take an inhale now. As you exhale, start to lift those shoulder tips away from the floor. So you're really kind of trying to connect the rib cage towards the abdomen as you lift the shoulder blades. We keep head, neck, and shoulders lifted. Stay where you are. I'm going to turn to the side just so you can get a better sense of what I'm doing next. So we keep head, neck, and shoulders lifted. We're squeezing the sit bones together. We're pressing the lower belly down, and there's a sense that our tailbone is trying to lift, although it can't. Take your left leg out to the side without the hips moving and bring it back in. We do another 4 of these. Left leg out to the side and bring it back in. If your hips start to tilt, technically you're cheating. Number 3, not really cheating, but you know. And number 2, squeeze the sits bones together. Last one, because we go straight onto the other side. Keep head, neck, and shoulders lifted if you can. Right leg comes out to the side. And we bring it back in. So without the action of squeezing the sit bones together, we're on number 4 by the way, and the action of dropping down through the belly button and slightly trying to lift the tailbone away from the floor, this doesn't have the same muscular difficulty. Let's make this the last one. And right in. Extend the legs towards the ceiling, take a little rock forwards back of the pelvis. Now we're going to rock up and down the spine, as long as that's okay for your body. And if you're okay to do so, you're going to place your feet into the floor and the bum's going to lift. And we'll try that a few more times. Heels down, bum starts to lift. Don't worry if it's not kind of in your body yet. Last one, heels down. And we find ourselves in a hanging forward fold. We allow the head, the neck, and the shoulders. Take a little dangle. Take an inhale here, lift the spine. I'm going to suggest a kind of 90-degree flat back here. And then we exhale to trail the body down against the thighs. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to melt down. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause here, dig down into your heels until you feel the backs of the thighs engaging. Press the feet down and out. Fingertips can be on the shins or the knees or whatever you'd like. And then maybe we're okay here to bring the hands forward in front of our body, which is going to create a longer lever, which will make it more difficult. And then we stand all the way up, interlock the fingertips when you get up to the top. Press your palms upwards as high as you can, kind of sugar your rib cage a little bit further up. Take an inhale, and then we'll exhale. Release the fingertips down. I'm just going to move my mat in a little bit so I don't hit my light. All right, so starting, take an inhale, fingertips up. Exhale, we forward, fall down towards the mat. Yogi's choice how you do that. Inhale, halfway lift, breathe, that's run forwards. Exhale, hands down, step back, high plank position. Pause here. Enjoy. Energize from the skull towards the heels. Feel your breath. You may be feeling also a little bit of resistance, not in your body, but in your mind. So you're being in your plank so far. And then we'll lower the knees to the floor. Inhale to shift back. Child's pose with the toes tucked. Exhale, ripple the body forwards. Lift your knees off, high plank. Knees down. This is a little pattern, by the way. Now begin to wrap your biceps forwards until you can feel the muscles in your armpit activating. Pull yourself towards the ground. 3, 2, 1, and push. We'll do that another 4 times. Pull, 3, 2, 1, and push. 2 more times. Pull the arms towards you. 3, 2, 1, and push. Yes. I've forgotten how many. Let's just do one more. 3, 2, 1, and push. Shift your hips back towards your heels. Tuck your toes. Inhale. Exhale, ripple forwards. Here comes the pattern again. Inhale, high plank position. Exhale, knees down. So we're just trying to keep the plank in the body as we do our chaturanga presses. We've got 4 again. Pull your way towards the floor. 3, 2, 1, and push. And again. 3, 2, 1, and push. You've got 2 more. 3, 2, 1. Last one. 3, 2, 1, and push. Tuck the toes, shift back. Child's pose with the toes tucked to lift up your hips, downward facing dog. A little bit of a walk from side to side. Imitate a cat or be the cat. Feel the cat. So I'm really getting a sense, because they're such beautiful movers, right? And our brain works through association. So if we visualize ourselves as cats, it gives us it's much more efficient at kind of creating qualities within our body, more efficient than, individual cues such as wag your tail and paw your feet, because we know what we mean when we say cat. Anyway, I digress. Press into your right foot. Inhale, lift your left leg towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend the leg at the knee until you've got this sense of contraction through the back of the leg, which is your hamstring or hamstrings. And then lifting your right heel high, draw your left knee into the center of the chest. Pull it in super, super strongly. Push the floor away. Inhale, send it back up. Slight change now. Cross your left foot or your left ankle over your right ankle. Shift forwards. High plank position, but now you're on one leg. Pause here. We hold. We push the shoulder blades away so that we've got a domed upper back. And then we shift back. Inhale, lift your left leg towards the ceiling. Exhale, left knee curls forwards. And we step it down in between the hands. Pause here. Lifting the toes of your front left off. Dig down into the outer edge of your left foot. Left thumb tips. Gently pull that front hip back. Just for a moment. Now, push down into both legs so strongly that we're able to lift the torso onto a diagonal line. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other into the back. Pausing here. So that front leg is pretty loaded now. And I'm going to lift the toes off and slightly drag that front heel back towards me. And now bend even deeper into your front leg. Sweep your arms forwards. Come up to high crescent lunge proper. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of crunching into my lower back here. So I'm going to think about lifting up through the abdomen. Rib cage pulls in. And then we cross left arm over right. And I'll kind of show you this from the front. So we have this super fun crossing position. We interlock the fingertips. And then we push the shoulder blades away from each other as we gently draw the elbows upwards. Pausing here. And then take it into a little bit of a kind of freestyle movement moment. So trying to keep the hips a little bit still as we explore, and it may make you fall over as we explore the range in that top section of the body. Let's make this the last one. And then unlace the arms, inhale, exhale, fingertips down. Press, draw your right knee down. And then we're gonna take our left hand towards the ceiling, opening the chest. Lean backwards so that you're coming into a little bit of a hamstring stretch, and then shift forwards so that we're beginning this big sweeping action. Notice that as my arm comes over my head, I'm actually opening the chest, leaning back into it. You don't have to do that, but it can be quite a nice way of getting a little bit more length through the pectorals, so the muscles at the front edges of the body, which can get a little bit kind of congested if you spend a lot of day at a desk. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, fingertips now framing your front foot. We're going to shift back into that initial hamstring stretch. For me, I have really touchy hamstrings, so I tend not to straighten the leg here, but sometimes there's a right time for everything. Dig into your front heel and now pull backwards. So I'm like, yeah, drawing the ground back towards me until I feel the hamstring start to activate. You are welcome to stay here, or if you feel ready, you're going to tuck that back toe, lift your back knee off the floor, both legs are bent, and now on a count of 3, we're going to see if we can take our hands off and stand up, keeping the legs here. 3, 2, 1. Whoop. Whoop. Yeah, and this is a tricky balance at the best of time. And we pause here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant the foot down. Everyone else, shift your pelvis forwards. We'll step that back foot forwards to the top edge of the mat. Forward fold. Relax the head, the neck, and the shoulders. And then we press down into the feet. We'll rise up straight towards the sun, the stars, the moon, whatever time of day you're practicing at. Inhale to reach up. Pull that body long, shoulders to the ears. Exhale, forward fold in any way that feels useful for you. Stepping back into downward facing dog, missing out the vinyasa. Sorry if you're a vinyasa aficionado. Inhale, lift your right leg towards the ceiling. Bend the leg at the knee. Again, we're trying to actually get the quadriceps, so the front of the thigh, to lengthen by contracting its kind of antagonistic muscle pairs, so the hamstrings. So trying to do this kind of lengthening of the quads and the hip flexors in a way that doesn't involve our kind of traditional stretching. Anyway, we squeeze and then we pull the front knee, so the right knee into the center of the chest, pushing the shoulder blades away from each other. We enjoy this little moment. We send it all the way back up. Lift the leg towards the ceiling and then cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Shift the body forwards. So in a really super fun kind of 3-point plank thing. Again, noticing any resistance that may be coming up in your mind. It's like when, you're doing a fitness class or something and someone says, and another round of burpees. My mind is like, no. Anyway, let's lift back up. 3-legged dog. Inhale, exhale. That right knee comes through the center of the chest in any way which feels comfortable for you. Place the foot down. We start to press down into the front foot strongly, activating through the hamstring and the glute of the front leg. And then we push down so that our fingertips start to rise, and we find ourselves on that really, getting that walls there, that really diagonal. And I would suggest this feeling of bringing that right hip back and the left hip forwards as we did on the first side. And we pause here. Maybe we send the hands forwards, creating a longer lever, if you did so on the first side. And then we breathe just a little bit more. We maybe lift the toes of that front foot and slightly drag it back so that we get hamstring activation to prepare us for the next moment of mojo. And then softening fingertips towards the floor, softening your left knee towards the floor. Inhale your right arm towards the ceiling. And then we sweep it forwards and we sweep it back. And again, you can turn this into a little bit of a sort of pectoral stretch moment. It's not going to be like a massive one, but it can still feel quite nice. Let's see if we can get a kind of element of freedom and flow through the hips and through the thighs. And let's make this the last one. Yes, and now we bring the fingertips down to frame.
the front foot. We shift back, we dig down into that right heel this time, and then you draw back in until you get a little sense of your hamstring engaging, which is quite nice, I think. I mean, it depends what you think of as nice. And then tucking that back toes. If you feel ready for this, you now know what's coming. 3, 2, 1. We take the hands off the floor, having some sort of, I've always thought that ponytail was like the most, good way of doing the hair, but actually highly inconvenient today. Anyway, let's stay with this. Let's get a little sense of kind of play and curiosity going about, how can we connect to our body via the nervous system through this test of our proprioception, our idea of where the body is in space. I digress again. Place the right foot down onto the floor. Everyone shift your hips forwards, and then shift your back foot forwards. We'll pause here. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to melt down. Drop your pelvis down towards the floor. You can use your hands to help you if you would like. And you sit the bum down. Ta-da! All right, so bringing your left arm behind you. Now see this, how this shoulder bone is poking forwards. So this is kind of called upward tilt. I'd actually like you to draw the shoulder up to the ear and roll it back until you can feel your shoulder blade sliding downwards and your kind of the muscles around the bottom edge of the shoulder starting to activate. From here, right hand in between the thighs, take an inhale, and as you exhale, push the pelvis up to the ceiling, reach your right hand up. If you feel comfortable to do so, you can take a little shift forwards and back. You can even try stretching the arm back, and then we'll come down. But for a lot of people, the shoulders are quite a weak area, so we've got to be a bit careful. Take an inhale and exhale. We rainbow up. And we'll do that another time. Last one. Now, if you're okay here, you might want to see if you can draw some circles with that top arm, but never compromising whatever's going on with the bottom arm. If you're not comfortable there, you might want to have the hand on the heart center, and then we'll all slide the bum back down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time, right arm back, shoulder moves up and back. Press into the fingertips, take an inhale. As you exhale, start to rainbow the hips towards the ceiling. So the reason the shoulder is in this position, right, rather than internally rotated, is because when it's internally rotated, you can't really go anywhere. So let's come back down again. So I want to just demonstrate that one moment. So if I have internal rotation, I can't get up out of it because of the position of the shoulder blade. I can't actually utilize the push and the range there. So let's try that 2 more times. Whee! And last one. Rainbowing the hips up, maybe reaching the hands behind, maybe trying a little circle with this top arm. It's just about getting you and your nervous system and your body comfortable to being a little bit kind of in a different place. Get the bum down towards the floor. I'm rotating back towards the center. We're going to once again try and place our heels into the floor and stand up. You can go from a little roll. I find it quite useful. I pull my thighs inwards because it gets my heels to plant, but you might not need to do that. Whoops. And then we stand into chair pose. Oh yes. And in our chair pose, we are going to have slight pigeon toe here, just a little bit. Sit down, get nice and low, press the heels down and press them out. Bring the hands forwards. I mean, option, of course, to put the hands in the center of the chest if you start to feel like you get a little bit too much strain here. But what we're trying to get here is this feeling of the outer hips and the outer thighs engaging, so the abductors, really important stabilizers. And we pause here, getting deep into the legs. This is also another place where resistance often comes up in the form of, chair, why? And when's it going to end? And all of those sorts of questions. Now we have to put the body through an amount of stress in order to get it to get stronger. And I think the same with the mind. So there's distress and you use stress. Use stress is kind of more positive connotation. Stand tall. And let's come back down. And stand. 10. Why not? And 9. And 8. So let's widen the feet. This time toes out. 7. And 6. You can do whatever you want with your hands. You can even do, I don't know, lost count, never mind. 4. Who needs the count? 3, 2, you can do whatever movements you want with your arms because we are not robots. So last 1. And then turn the feet into parallel. Take a little moment. Relax over the legs. I'm going to move myself back to the front of the mat. Nice deep breath here. All right, ground down into your right leg. Lift your left heel upwards off the floor. From here, start to shift the weight back into the heel of your right foot. As you shift the tailbone down and you're on the ball of your left foot, you're going to bring your hands forwards. So it's a strange chair position to say the least. Now from here, see if you can float your left foot off the floor. And now your quad is going to want to take over, but if you shift the weight back into your heel, yes, you may come up slightly, but you're also probably going to access the back of the leg a little bit more, which is maybe what we want for this class. Then stand tall. And this top leg, I want you to externally rotate it. So this is the left leg. I'm not mirroring you, apologies. So externally rotate it and internally rotate it. Oh, cramp. Yeah, you don't need to go that far with the internal rotation. Just kind of see where it is. Yeah, good. And then sit your bum back. And it's as if we're going into figure 4 stretch, but we're not. We're actually just finding this kind of active iteration of it. Yes, good. Pausing here and then standing into your bottom leg. Let the left leg lengthen and we'll give it a little swing. Now here, if you remember the bridge at the beginning of the class, and we actually played a little bit with hip stability and back of the leg then. Let's find that now. And you'll notice, right, if your pelvis has to move with the leg, that might suggest that you have kind of areas where you're a little bit less mobile, a little bit stickier, either muscularly or through the fascia. But you know, we'll start to kind of explore these. And then once you've swung the leg a few more times, you're going to start to take your arms up, send your left toe forwards, point the toe to the right diagonal. So I will show you from this side. Yes, good. And then start to swing the leg around. And we find this kind of like curtsy lunge type place. And then we bring it back up. And I want you to feel the connection from your fingertips to your toes. So feel that connection, like the leg is connected to your arm, actually through lines of tissue in the body, everything's connected. And let's make this the last one. Swing the leg in front, and now swing it behind you and start to externally rotate the thighs. So I'll show you from the front. Externally rotate, and then reach your left arm. As a little spoiler alert, we're coming into extended side angle. If you don't know what that means, do not worry. Follow me. So we send the left foot back. We keep reaching through the left arm. Land the left foot down. Right arm is now on that right thigh, and we're reaching through the side reaches of the body. Play with dropping the pelvis down and forwards, and then lengthening a little bit, not all the way, through the front leg. Yeah, nice. Now, from here, we're going to see if we can take that bottom arm off. Stand tall. Warrior 2. Lean up and back, reaching through the hands. Come back into Warrior 2, back into extended side angle. And now, if you can, if you feel comfortable to do so, make it a little bit more freestyle. See if you can find areas to reach into that you haven't reached out into before. And imagine that your fingertips have got kind of like lights on the end of them, and you're shining the light into the different areas of the room. But in order to keep the light shining, you have to extend. So you have to really reach the arms away from each other. We'll have another 3 or 4 moments here. 2 and 1. Turn your back leg in. Internal rotation, spinning on the ball of the foot. We now have our front leg forwards, obviously. And then we lean forwards into that right leg. Send the fingertips forwards. Maybe, if you feel like pretty energetic. Whoops, take the back toe off the floor. See, I fall over too. And then see if you can bend into your right leg. Bring your left knee to touch the back of your right leg. And then send it out. Warrior 3. Let's try that one more time. Knee into the back of the knee. Send it out. Touch your left toe down. Hands frame your front right foot. Sweep your right leg up and back. 3-legged dog. Now this next bit you might recognize. Cross your right ankle over your left ankle. And then shift the weight forwards. Rotate onto the outer edge of your right foot so that you are in a side plank with your left foot forwards and your right leg back. Reach your right hand up to the air. Remember, you can always put the knees down if you need a break at any point. Then swivel so that you're facing the back end of your mat. You're on one arm and now both feet face forwards. Sorry, back. Very clear. But we're essentially getting ready for our wild thing that we've prepped for. We've got a left hand behind us. We've got our feet in front. Take an inhale. And then exhale, reach the pelvis towards the ceiling. Maybe reaching the arm back behind you. Go with the depth that works for you. Another transition coming up now. Turn your gaze towards the top edge of the mat. Swivel your feet. Right hand comes down into the floor. Right knee comes into the center of the chest. Externally rotate your right knee so that we're coming into an active flying pigeon type place, and then place your shin down onto the floor. This is a very active pigeon. It's so active it's had loads of coffee that we're coming into now. So I would like to say that the lower you are to the floor, the more difficult it is with this one. See if you can untuck the toe, fingertips either side of you, and now see if you can balance. Can you lift off your left leg, and maybe lift off your hands as well. It's really interesting, this one, I think. And maybe try it higher up. Notice if you find that easier or more difficult. And then try coming from a low place. So having everything on the floor, and then this is the really challenging place for me. And then see if you can lift everything off. Whoa. Come on, leg. You've got to have it all working together. Let's have another moment here. And then relax down. Right sit bone moves down towards the floor. Right leg in. You're going to turn to the long edge of your mat. So thigh slap. We've got that right leg in, left leg out. Wiggle your bum a little bit. Take some sweat off your face. Maybe. And reach your fingertips towards the ceiling, one at a time. Now feel the roots of your arms, right? They come into your back. Everything is connected, which is like a really easy thing to say, but it's just so very true. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lift the chest upwards. And we're going to see if we can lean across to the left leg. Maybe you're going to bring one arm down. I quite like to push my leg outwards as I reach the side of the body. So I'm pressing down into my right sit bone as I reach the right arm up overhead. We take another breath here. And then we're going to sweep the arms forwards. Bring the right hand behind us. Left arm sweeps up as we push down into the floor. Lengthen the hips and basically crotch forwards. And then we bring both hands back down to the floor at the front of the mat. So you're just ahead of your right knee. Pick up your left leg. Sweep it round and forwards in whatever format works for you. Step your left foot forwards. I'm going to show you this from the front. So you've got your right hand out to the side, left leg forwards. Bring your right knee into the center of the chest. Like you're giving it a little, and let's try that again. Yes, and last one. Bring it forwards. Step it down and through. Both legs come out. Wonderful. From here, inhale your fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, roll down towards the floor. Walk your feet in a little bit closer. Take an inhale. Exhale, rise that pelvis up. Find yourself in your beautiful kind of like bridge place to be. And now you can rise the ribcage up. If you like, you can even squeeze your hands underneath. Wrap the shoulder blades towards each other.
we've got a chance to go into wheel on the second side. Take an inhale, and then exhale, release everything down to the ground, and hug your knees into the center of the chest. All right, hands underneath the back of the legs. Take a little bit of a rock forwards and back. We're gonna see if we can land our heels into the floor again. Heels down, we shift our bums towards the ceiling, take a little dangle over the legs, so let the head, the neck and the shoulders relax. And then we shift our weight into our left foot, lifting the right heel away from the floor. And then as we start to shift the weight into the left leg, we're also going to slightly bend at the legs, so sending the pelvis towards the floor. The body starts to reach up and forward so that we're in this like super fun, slightly unusual chair variation. And then you start to lift the right leg away from the floor, shift the weight even further back into the heel until you feel the activation through the back of the thigh. Whoops. Maybe lifting that thigh a little bit more. And then we push down into the supporting leg to bring the pelvis, I guess, forwards to come on top of the leg. And then we'll take a little kind of swing here. Whee! So letting the leg shift forwards and back, and noticing how that shift of weight may also take us slightly off balance, and that's okay. You can even try it a little bit slower, as we did on the first side. Whoops. Every time I look at the camera, I start to fall over, so I'm like, okay, look forwards, Claire, look forwards. And let's make this the last one. Bring the leg up again. Externally rotate the thigh, so that's kind of kicking the heel upwards. And then try a little bit of internal rotation. Notice what happens in the pelvis, what muscles activate. We'll do this one more time, and then from that external rotation, start to feed the hips backwards. Shift backwards as if you're coming into figure four, but you're keeping that right heel ever so slightly lifted. Let's see if we can hold this for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch the leg out and away. And now fingertips reach, and we feel hopefully sort of the stretch between the toes and the fingertips. And now we take lovely kind of circling actions of the leg, almost kind of sending it all the way off to the diagonal. And you can get a little, you know, that quality that we had with our leg swings. You can take a little bit of that into it if you want to almost skate the leg. Or my favorite is to kind of eke down into it and really test my balance as I hug the right thigh into the back of the left thigh. And we'll maybe do this a couple more times. And then the next time you bring your right leg around, reach through your right fingertips and keep reaching. Start to bend into your left leg, and that toe searches the floor, and we end up in an extended side angle position. So I'll just swap around so that you can see what's going on. And we ground down into that right back foot to reach. And now we kind of activate through the side of the waist, sweep the hand off, play a little bit with the lengthening and dropping through the right leg. Maybe you're still in that side reach, if that feels okay. If it doesn't feel too strong, a little bit of strength is good though. And then bring the body back up on top. Maybe soften through the front edges of the hips, and then take a little reverse warrior here. And then if you like, you can bring it into that kind of more freestyle feeling where you're keeping the legs rooted and you're reaching the hands into lots of different directions. So again, there's this feeling of like you're almost kind of shining light out of your fingertips. Or like any superhero fans here, you can kind of pretend that you're Spider Man or woman or whatever, and you have this feeling of actually shooting energy, web, whatever, out of your fingertips. And then maybe you even get a little bit more fluid. You let the thoracic spine, so your ribcage, move and bend and flow. And let's make this the last moment here. Maybe briefly in warrior two, internally rotate that right thigh. The stance will be quite long. You may want to bring that back foot in so that you feel a little bit more balanced. We start to shift the weight forwards into that left leg. Bring the hands forwards potentially.
and then shift all the way into that left leg, right foot off the ground. Hands can be forwards if you have the space. Like headbutting the wall, not part of the plan. And then bending into your left knee, bring the right knee to the back of your left thigh, contract it in and then send it out and away. So it could be a kind of warrior 3 variation, or you could be tapping the toe down. Last one, bending, send the toe out and away, place the toes down onto the floor. Both hands frame your left foot, and then we sweep the left leg towards the ceiling, 3-legged dog. And then cross your left ankle over your right ankle. And I did sort of cue this a little bit confusingly on the first side, so apologies. Shift your weight forwards. And now we're going to shift to the outer edge of our right foot so that you're in a side plank with your right foot forwards and your left foot back. So I did say on the first side, I think I said roll to the outer edge of your right foot as well. But what I meant was left foot, but never mind. We've got our right foot forwards, our left foot backwards in that stacked position, and you can of course have one knee down as well. And then we rotate to the back edge of our mat so that we get ready for our wild thing, our wild thing variation. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, you're like chucking stardust up to the ceilings. If you want to be really kind of hippie about it, and I'm pushing into those fingerprints, so I'm not kind of I'm not locking into the arm, but it's staying really, really dynamic. And we're breathing here, and you can of course take it up and down if that feels like something you want to play with. Let's make this the last moment here, and then we'll bring both fingertips around to the floor, swivel, and you're going to draw your left knee into the center of the chest, externally rotate it, so we've got an active kind of flying pigeon here. And then the shin comes down onto the floor. And this is our moment to have a little balance again. So fingertips can go out to the side. Play around with being really low to the floor, and then trying to shift your back leg off and balance here. And I sort of noticed that when I fall here, it's because I've let my belly go, and I've kind of I've relaxed into the joint instead of lifting up and out of it. And you can play with different levels. You can play with having your hands forwards, good luck, and your hands back, and having loads of different orientation. And of course you can take a little rest break here as well. I'm going to give it one more go. I'm going to try being on the knee with the toe tucked. Whoa, whoa, and let's go for another 3 and 2 moments, and 1. Sit down onto your left hip, rotate so that you're ready for your little lovely side stretch. Now, slightly different to what we did on the first side. We find our sit bones here for sure. We are going to do the stretch, so we're going to reach out to the sides of the waist. We're going to take our very energized side body across to the long leg, and then maybe we're going to bring the elbow down. And sometimes I will cue kind of like literally kind of flopping and softening over into it. But today I want just a little bit more activation. So like fingertips of light are sort of gently tickling your ribcage, and you reach. And you get that sort of lengthening sensation through the side waist. I quite like to do a little arm wiggle here to really get into juiciness of the joint. And then we'll roll through the center. And again, come up this time. Situate yourself, making up new words all the time. Situate yourself on your sit bones. And now this left leg, you're going to see if you can lift it up off the floor. And immediately I rolled back a little bit, right? But we're trying not to roll back very much. And then bring your knee into parallel. And then see if you can take it out to the side, extend it and place it onto the floor. We'll do the same thing with the other leg, sort of. You're going to see if you can lift it, bend at the knee. You can use your fingertips either side of you to help you. Bring it into parallel. And then we're going to externally rotate it to bring it back in. Other side, so left leg, lift, bend, carry it back around to the front, externally rotate. And so it's just a little bit of a play. It doesn't have to be too prescriptive. We'll do it again. Lifting the leg so it's in that external rotation. Bring it into parallel. Carry it to the side. Push it out through your heel. Land it down. Grow taller through the upper body. First side. Oh, second side. 11th side. So to lift the leg off the floor. So I feel like, okay, yeah, I can feel my torso starting to kick on, and then to stabilize, and then we bring it into parallel, carry it to the side, push it out, and back in. And we've just got one more time. This time I think I'd like you to kind of play around with it a little bit. So maybe you can try bending it first. You can take it through any sort of orientation that you like. You can bend it, you can straighten it, you can roll around. All of this stuff. Just giving yourself a moment to find out the range of the joint. Now, can I remember which side we were on? Da, da, da. Yes, all right, and then bringing that left foot in, haha. And then we'll sweep our right hand across to the side, and we'll use this as a way. I said shining the crotch forwards earlier, but I guess it's kind of shining the frontal hip points forwards. And I kind of said that because I just quite like saying the word crotch, so I'm distracting myself. So bring both hands down to the front edge of your mat. Step your right foot forwards. And then from here, and again, I'll turn slightly so you can see what's going on. Bring the left knee into the center of the chest. Hug it in. Step it back out behind you. And again, that's it. And then step it through. Place it down. We've got the other leg out. So now we're back at the front edge of the mat with the feet forwards. Curl the spine underneath you. Lovely. And then maybe the hands come either side of you. Hug your heels in or drag them in. We'll feel that kind of lower belly contraction there. Take the feet off the floor if you can. So this isn't your traditional yoga boat pose, which would be on the sit bones. This is a slightly more rounded position, and we roll towards the floor, hopefully keeping the legs where they are. And then place the feet down. Now, option to go into your bridge, which we did on the first side. Also, if it's within your practice, you can bring your hands behind you, pressing your fingertips into the floor, and you can lift up into your full wheel pose. Oop, back of the hair always gets a little bit squished. Every time I do this, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why. I really love this pose because they get such a kind of strong opening through the front section of the body. Take a couple more breaths there, not very long. Relax the head, the neck and the shoulders, and then we softly send our way towards the floor. Unravel the spine, hug the knees into the center of the chest. I'm actually going to hold on to the back of my legs, my hamstrings, and take a little lift of the tailbone as my counter pose. So you don't necessarily need to go into your plow and stuff, but just a little kind of opposition, nothing too strong. And as you hug your knees into the chest, maybe you can feel this time the belly actually moving against the thighs. Allow the breath to soften just a little bit. And then we'll relax the tail to the floor, drop the feet down, let them land, and then extend the legs forward to come into our Shavasana. You're welcome to spend as long as you like here. So in your Shavasana, finding a way of orientating your body which is comfortable. So you might actually find that lying on your side or lying on your belly or supine position or legs against the wall could be a little bit more comfortable. But if you find that this shy star-shaped position is one way you can come to rest, and let's see if we can settle the body here. So beginning to fine-tune our awareness in the simplicity of stillness.
So no muscular actions, no striving, just being. As we softly follow the breath, maybe coming back to that imagery from right at the beginning where we imagined pressing our spines into sand, pressing our bodies into soft sands to make an imprint. And maybe now the imprint of our body is created by that softening, that allowing of our bodies to be heavy, to let them drop down, to surrender the full weight of the body down into the ground. And how does your body feel now? What is the texture and the rhythm of your breath? Can you sense any tingling in the skin? Can you hear not only the sounds within your body, but also maybe the sounds in the space around you? Locating yourself as both in and of your body and also in and of the world around you. Take a relaxing exhale. Melt a little further. Now feeling free to stay here as long as you like. I'm going to stop guiding now and leave you to dwell in the sensations of the body, of the ground, the sky above you and the air around you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.